As it is, Autocad's trim command is very efficient. However, did you know there's an even faster way to trim your geometry? In this lesson, we're going to take a look at extrim, a tool that allows us to trim everything to one side of an object. On my screen, I have some simple geometry. Let's say I'd like to trim all of the line work on the outside of this circle. To do that, I'll type extrim. This stands for extended trim, and I'm afraid the keyboard is the only way to access this command. I'll press enter. I will then select my cutting object, and then I'll click to the outside of the circle, and Autocad trims all of the geometry on that side. Let's try the command again. This time I'd like to trim all of the line work to the inside of this square. I'm going to press my space bar to relaunch extrim. I'll select the square, and then I'll click to the inside. As you can see, the extrim command is very easy to use. Now, where might you use this command in production work? Well, anytime where it would be a hassle to manually select all of the objects to trim. For instance, I'm going to pan this over. On my screen, I have a drawing of a small subdivision, and there's quite a bit of line work in this file. Let's say that a client has requested a CAD file that shows the utility locations at the intersection of Willow Avenue and Jefferson Street. Well, the client obviously doesn't need this entire file, so to make the email a little smaller and to make things less confusing, I'm only going to send him the geometry that he's interested in. Let's zoom out, and I'll start by creating a rectangle that defines the area that he needs. Let's turn my running object snaps off momentarily. Next, I'll launch the extrim command. Now, instead of typing this in again, I'm going to right-click. I'll come down to Recent Input, and I'll select extrim from the menu. I will then select my rectangle and click to the outside. I will then launch the Erase command and remove the rest of the extraneous line work. As long as I'm at it, I'm going to remove the rectangle as well. When I'm finished, I have a relatively small file that includes exactly what the client needs. When it comes to trimming your geometry, extrim isn't meant to be a replacement for the standard trim command. However, it's nice to know that it's there for those special occasions when you need to quickly trim all entities to one side of an object.